We are moving on to the panel discussion on capacity building in the energy sector, role of banks and institutional finance for research, innovation, and energy infra development. Joining us for this panel discussion, we have Mr. D. Radhakrishna, Chairman, Tripura Electricity Regulatory Commission, who will be moderating this session. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence. Can we, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. D. Radhakrishna, Chairman, Tripura Electricity Regulatory Commission. Joining him on stage is Mr. Milind Deore, Director, Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Thank you so much, sir. Round of applause for Mr. Milind Deore. We will also be joined by Mr. H.S.Hanspal, Chairman, Punjab Energy Development Agency, who is joining us in another few minutes. Mr. Radhakrishna, if you'd like to begin, Mr. Hanspal will be joining us.
I'll also add up one thing, regulatory intervention which is required for a capacity building, and whatever the help you require for the regulatory perspective need to be brought up, because yesterday when I was discussing with one of the utility, they say ki if everything is passed through, there is no problem, but some of the penalties and etc. which is being funded and taken over are regulators are not passing thing. So then I said कि I'll try to understand the subject.
अच्छा एक सेकंड में इंटरप्ट करता हूँ. Like our another speaker, Manoj Srivastava, who is the Principal Secretary, Technical Education, Skill Development and Employment Department, Government of MP is here, and I would like to have him on the stage, please.
Yeah.
Sorry, we forgot to invite him. So welcome on the stage, and he has done extensive work in the energy sector, and it's a real honor to have him on the stage. And our another speaker from Punjab is like just joining his so he has a phone call.
Okay.
So may I request Radhakrishna ji to kindly like moderate the session and also like give your perspective. Thank you.
So because as far as research and innovation is concerned, in the energy sector, we are seeing the transition time for past 3-4 years quickly. In a way, the things are moving which is unparalleled in the history of the energy sector. I remember in 2004 when somebody came to me for a solar tariff. Then he said, then when we computed, we got around 6 rupees or so. Then I said, nobody is going to give you 6 rupees when the base rates are 2 rupees or so. But surprisingly, in 4 or 5 years' time, 2007, the solar tariff was fixed at 17 and 18, 19 rupees. And that was the real building up of a solar power in the country. And now we are the second largest producer of the solar power. And also in renewable also, as far as regulatory concern as there, when the solar plants and other regulatory, this thing was not building up, we have moved to regulator. Those days I was in the other side of the table. We have moved to the regulator ki like you have to promote renewable energy, and unless you make it obligatory, you cannot do it. And REC, RPO, SPO, all those words have started coming up. But as far as education in this panel, this discussion, which we are going to have it, role of banks and financial institute, I personally feel you can have your views on this.
Okay, it's a small typographical mistake in the agenda. The topic name is capacity building in the energy sector. So even if we do not specify banks in particular, it will do. Okay. So please ignore it. Capacity building in the energy sector is the topic name.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the corrections. First of all, Chairman Shri Radhakrishnan ji for this session, and Mr. Chairman from PEDA and Manukumar Srivastava ji from Madhya Pradesh government. I'm really honored to be a panelist with this eminent personalities. Before moving, because I'm from Bureau of Energy Efficiency, BE, which is a statutory body, and the main purpose of BE is to promote the Energy Conservation Act and policies into the all the sectors of the economy. So now the topic is mainly focusing to the capacity building in the energy sector, and even a little bit the role of banks for the energy transition. So just yesterday we had a National Energy Conservation Day, and National Energy Conservation Awards were being given by Honorable President, and it was a very important moment in the context of the India is holding the G20 presidency, and also the recently concluding the COP27. So I just want to highlight some of the initiatives by BE and the results of that one in the context of energy transition and how we are moving towards the climate goals which the Honorable PM has announced. You all are aware about the Panchamrit, which is being announced in Glasgow COP26, which are being enhanced target compared to the Paris Agreement. So in this context, the role of energy efficiency is very paramount. Means definitely renewable energy is the second option where you have a substitute for the clean energy. But actually, before using the energy, we should have more energy efficiency. And as per the numbers and as per the studies, if we have to achieve these climate goals and the targets, energy efficiency will contribute more than 55% to the overall emission reductions. And then renewable energy will become into the picture where it can be contribute around 14%. But if the investment, if you think the investment which is being required for renewable energy versus energy efficiency, I think the payback period and even the return on investment in energy efficiency is very high. Means within a 2 or 3 years of time, the investments are being returned compared to the renewable energy projects. Means they are more feasible and easily implementable. You may be aware that the Government of India has initiated the program called Perform, Achieve and Trade Scheme for the large industrial units, where the targets are given to the industries to reduce their specific energy consumption. And this is one of the very successful market tool through which the energy efficiency has been accelerated in a large scale into the large industries. Under this single program, we are covering the around 60%, 60 to 65% of industrial energy consumption. And industries and energy is the only sector which contributing around 70% to the overall emissions. So this is a very important program which is directly targeting to the emission reductions and also achieving our climate goals. I'm happy to share that in the last 10 years of time, from 2012 to 2019, this single program has achieved significant amount of energy saving, means around 22 million tons of oil equivalent, which is 2.5%, and which avoided around 100 million tons of CO2 reduction, with the investment of 56,000 crore rupees, and the saving they achieved around 51,000 crore rupees. And these all numbers are actually monitored, verified through third parties, that is certified energy auditors, as per the provisions of the Act. So this tool, through the provisions of Energy Conservation Act, has been really a successful scheme, and this is the first of its kind program in the world. Means there are schemes are there which are related to the emission reduction. Even there is a scheme by European Union, EU ETS, by Japan, by China, but not on energy efficiency, not energy related to energy. So we have a program for that is called PAT, and we are issuing the certs under that. So it's a very successful program. Another initiatives by government like standard and labeling program, demand side management program like Ujala scheme, SNL scheme. So all these initiatives have significantly contributed to the energy savings, energy efficiency, and also to ultimate goal of reducing the CO2 emissions. In the year 1920 itself, by all these initiatives, we could able to save around 150 billion unit of electricity and around 16 million tons of thermal energy consumption. So that entire saving, if you convert into the rupees, it's around 1,15,000 crore rupees in the year 1920 itself. Now coming to the investment potentials and the investment which is already made into this sector, means compared to the renewable energy versus energy efficiency, there is a study has been done by the committee and also by one of the international agency. So the investment made in India is morely in a clean energy sector, like around 42% of the investment is being made into the clean energy field, and 38% investment is being made into the energy efficiency field. And the very important fact is that only 17% is being invested into the clean transport. And if you see that the numbers, another thing is that for energy efficiency, 38% investment made is being made by, but out of the 38%, 91% is made by only private sector. Means government infusion is very low. So it's a very active and most attractive kind of thing for the private players, particularly the industries. They have invested and they have the results also. If you go to the clean transport, out of 17%, 96% is a public funding. That is the metros and all things which is being made. So, and another is clean energy, as I was saying, 42% investment made. And out of that 42%, majorly is the solar. Around 40 to 45% solar is being there, and then remaining other hydro and even wind is there. So see, if observing the numbers, it is still energy efficiency is a first choice by the private sector. And if there is an investment by the private sector, definitely the movement will be very fast. Now coming to the very important numbers and the climate goals, which the Panchamrit. If we have to achieve this climate goal, we need to have investment of around 170 billion USD per year. If we have to achieve by 2030, per year we need to have to be 170 billion euros. And if you see the investment which is being made into the 1920 itself, is only 44 billion USDs, which is only 25%. So we are very much behind than the target. And if we need to create and attract investment into this sector, so there is a lot of push and policies are required from the government side so that the environment can be more vulnerable and more attractive. So another thing is that the cumulative investment which is being you know that the important goal of this Panchamrit is that net zero. We have to achieve the net zero by 2070. And recently, Government of India has also released how we are going to achieve the net zero by 2070, the plan in COP27. So as per the estimated numbers, if we have to achieve this net zero by 2070, we need 10 trillion USDs by 2070. And if need this kind of investment, so think it how the actions and policies are required from the government side. Government is trying, even we have announced green bonds of 16,000 crore rupees, or sorry, around 16,000 crore rupees, but it is still come into the picture. Now coming to the another topic, that is skill development. This is all about the investment, and this could be possible only through the role of private financial institutions along with the public financial institution. Now coming to the skill development, this both the sectors, means energy transition requires huge transformation also into the skill development. Energy efficiency through BE, we have started a lot of program for energy auditor, like we have an examination called Energy Managers and Energy Auditors examination. As on date, more than 17,000 energy auditors are being certified, and more than 20,000 energy managers are also being certified. We train them, we give them, through the examination, through other activities, we train them how to go for energy efficiency projects and technologies. Similarly, for the clean energy, there is a need for a skill development, and there is a need for institutions to come forward. A lot of activities are already started in renowned institutions like IITs and even the regional engineering college, but still there is a focused skill development activities and trainings in education is required if we need to be achieve the targets of this Panchamrit as well as the energy transition. So with this, I just want to be stop here. There are two significant achievement I just want to be highlight here. Just day before yesterday, Monday, Government of India has approved the Parliament has approved the amendment to the Energy Conservation Act 2022, and this amendment is very important in the view of the investment which we need to we attract for the clean energy and energy transition, and also very important for creating the participation from the private sector, particularly for the clean energy sources. There are two major amendments are there. One is now government is empowered to create own carbon market for over India, that is domestic carbon market, through which we want to create more investment in the clean energy sector. And another important amendment is that government is also empowered to give an targets or to give an you can say obligations for the private sector for clean energy sources. The green hydrogen mission, you may be, a lot of people are aware, the green hydrogen purchase obligations are also required for the refineries and petrochemicals and other sectors. So through this act, that can be possible now. We can promote and obligate the private sector for clean energy sources. So these are the two important amendments are there in the act, and just now Rajya Sabha has passed on Monday. So now very soon it will be published into the Gazette, and see that how it will be impact. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Milindji. And now a very useful information you have given, ki how the energy conservation will be useful for the country and particularly to the energy electricity sector also. Now I request Mr. Hans to speak.
If you allow, I may speak in Hindi. Yes. I don't mind. मैं पहले तो बता दूं कि मैं कोई एनर्जी एक्सपर्ट नहीं हूं. Basically, I was in Rajya Sabha for 2 terms. Then I was in National Commission for Minorities. I was also PCC president for 4 years in Punjab. By choice, मैंने पेडा की चेयरमैनशिप एक्सेप्ट की बाय चॉइस. कुछ मुझे शुरू से शौक़ था बहुत क्लीन एनर्जी के लिए, देश के अंदर पंजाब के लिए कोई सेवा की जा सके तो वो ज़रूर की जाए. इससे पहले कि मैं कुछ और बातें करूं, मिस्टर रवि गुप्ता, डॉक्टर रवि गुप्ता ने ये बहुत अच्छा अरेंजमेंट किया है. हमारे ऑफिसर्स भी साथ में आए हैं. मैं तो स्पेशली इसलिए आया यहाँ पर कि लेट मी सी कि सब लोग एक्सपर्ट्स क्लीन एनर्जी के लिए क्या सोचते हैं. इससे पहले कि मैं कुछ और बात करूं, आप फाइनेंशियल इम्प्लिकेशंस की कुछ बातें कर रहे थे यहाँ पर. शायद बड़े बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स में तो बैंक्स भी करते होंगे, कुछ इंस्टीट्यूशंस करते ही हैं, उसके फाइनेंस करते हैं. लेकिन शायद आपको ये मालूम होगा या नहीं मालूम कि रूफ टॉप सोलर प्लांट्स के लिए प्राइवेट जो घरों के ऊपर लगते हैं, बैंक्स फाइनेंस नहीं करते. आई डोंट नो वेदर यू नो इट और नॉट, क्योंकि मेरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस भी इसके लिए है. मैंने कहा भी उनसे बैंक से, भाई ये तो गवर्नमेंट का प्रोजेक्ट है, इसको कोई लेके कोई भाग नहीं जा रहा. लेकिन कहने लगे बैंक्स विल नॉट फाइनेंस इट, तो नहीं किया उन्होंने. लेकिन मैं ये समझता हूँ कि देश के लिए जो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने 2030 का टारगेट रखा है, बहुत डिस्कशन के बाद, बहुत सोच समझ के रखा है, और हमें इसको अचीव करना चाहिए. पंजाब में पेडा में हम लोग बहुत से प्रोजेक्ट्स कर रहे हैं और बड़े सक्सेसफुली किए हैं. मेरे जाने से पहले पार्लियामेंट में जो सोलर सेंट्रल दिल्ली में पार्लियामेंट में जो सोलर प्लांट लगा वो पेडा ने लगाया था। लेकिन जो बात मैं एक ख़ास तौर से कहना चाहता हूँ वो ये है कि आप लोग बहुत एक्सपर्ट्स बैठे हुए हैं यहाँ पर, बहुत अच्छा काम हो रहा है, काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जिस ढंग से, जिस स्पीड से या ईमानदारी से होना चाहिए, शायद उस स्पीड से और ईमानदारी से नहीं हो रहा। सोलराइजेशन या रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी को प्रोड्यूस करना, मैं इसको एक देशभक्ति समझता हूँ, देश की सेवा समझता हूँ, देश के लोगों की सेवा समझता हूँ। इसको बहुत ईमानदारी से हमें करना चाहिए। मैं ये नहीं कहता कि नहीं कर रहे, लेकिन और ज़्यादा ईमानदारी से किया जा सके तो उसको इस ढंग से करना चाहिए। मैं उसकी और डिटेल में नहीं जाऊंगा। पेट्रोल की क्या पोजीशन है, हमारे देश की फॉरेन एक्सचेंज की क्या पोजीशन है, रुपी वर्सेस डॉलर की क्या पोजीशन है, वो सब आप जानते हैं। इन सब बातों के पीछे ऑयल की जो तिजारत है, बिजनेस है, वो है। अगर हम क्लीन एनर्जी, स्पेशली सोलर एनर्जी को ज़्यादा डेवलप कर लें तो बहुत अच्छा होगा। पंजाब के अंदर आपको मालूम है लैंड कॉस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा है, इसलिए पेडा ने ये डिसाइड किया है, कुछ कैनाल के ऊपर भी लगाए हैं, कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स और कैनाल के ऊपर लगाने जा रहे हैं, कुछ प्रोजेक्ट फ्लोटिंग सोलर प्रोजेक्ट्स लगने जा रहे हैं जिसमें ज़मीन की इम्प्लीकेशन नहीं होगी, वो कॉस्ट कम हो जाएगी। सो इस किस्म की बहुत सी बातें हो रही हैं, की जा रही हैं। मैं समझता हूँ कि इस तरफ हमें सबको मिल के और ज़ोर से काम करना चाहिए। और ये बात दोबारा भी रिपीट करता हूँ कि जिस किस्म की ये मीट हुई है बहुत सक्सेसफुल थी। सुबह से मैं बैठा हुआ था यहाँ पर। इस किस्म की और मीट भी होनी चाहिए ताकि हमें एक्सचेंज ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, एक्सचेंज ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस हो जाए तो काम हम और स्पीड से कर सकें। शायद आप लोगों को ज़रूर मालूम होगा क्योंकि आप सब एक्सपर्ट बैठे हुए हो यहाँ पर। हमारे यहाँ तो शायद 300 दिन कहा जाता है कि सूरज मिलता है, इंग्लैंड में 300 दिन नहीं मिलता। उन्होंने एक प्रोजेक्ट सोचा है, पता नहीं कब होगा, कैसे होगा, कॉस्ट कहाँ से आएगी। वो स्पेस में लगाने जा रहे हैं, ऑर्बिट के अंदर सोलर प्लांट लगाने जा रहे हैं। मैंने पूछा भी कैसे होगा, कहने लगे स्पेस में तो सूरज 365 दिन 24 घंटे मिलता है। मैंने कहा 24 घंटे कैसे मिलेगा? तो उन्होंने कहा कि हम इस तरह से डिज़ाइन करेंगे उसको, उन पैनल्स विल बी फेसिंग द सन ऑल द 24 आवर्स। जब 24 घंटे पैनल सूरज की तरफ, सूरज तो फ्री एनर्जी मिलेगी हमें तो वहाँ से। मैंने कहा वहाँ से कैसे यहाँ आएगी एनर्जी, ट्रांसमिट कैसी होगी? तो कहने लगे जैसे और सारा आजकल वायरलेस सब सिस्टम हो रहा है, उस सिस्टम से वो एनर्जी यहाँ होगी। और हमारी कंट्री के लिए, इंग्लैंड के लिए बहुत बड़ा बून होगा और बहुत बड़ी सेविंग होगी। बहुत बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट है, बहुत कॉस्टली होगा, पता नहीं कितने साल लगे, कब हो, कैसे हो। लेकिन एक थॉट है, मैंने इसलिए बात आपको कही कि लोग इस तरह से सोच रहे हैं। इसी तरह से अमेरिका एक बहुत, मुझे जाने का प्राइवेट विजिट था मेरा, मैं वहाँ 1 महीने के लिए गया था। तो आप सब ज़रूर विज़िट किया होगा। अमेरिका को रिचेस्ट कंट्री कहा जाता है और है भी, उससे और शायद रिच कंट्री कोई ना हो। हर चीज़ बड़ी बड़ी है, घर बड़े हैं, सड़कें बड़ी हैं। मैं ह्यूस्टन में गया, वहाँ एक सड़क का नाम है I-10। मैंने कहा इसका I-10 नाम क्यों है? कहने लगे ये 10 रोड्स इस तरफ जाती हैं और 10 दूसरी तरफ से आती हैं, तो उसका रोड का नाम ही I-10 है ह्यूस्टन में, और इट रन्स थ्रू द ह्यूस्टन। खैर मैं इसलिए बताता कि बहुत उनकी सोच बहुत बड़ी है। वो तो उनके आदमी भी लंबे लंबे, मोटे मोटे, बड़े बड़े, शूज़ का साइज़ 12 नंबर, मतलब ऐसा रिच कंट्री है। लेकिन वो जो बात बताने लगा हूँ वो घर घर में जाकर और लोगों को उत्साह देते हैं कि आप अपने उसके ऊपर सोलर एनर्जी लगाइए, सोलर पैनल्स लगाइए। वो कर रहे हैं तो हमें तो उसके लिए बहुत रिलीजियसली उस काम को करने की ज़रूरत है, उसको ज़रूर हमें करना चाहिए। मैं और बहुत लंबी तो बातें तो हम लोग बहुत लंबी कर सकते हैं, तो मैं इतनी बात कह के, तो ये जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब का जो मोदी जी का, मैं आई डोंट कम फ्रॉम द बीजेपी पार्टी, लेकिन मोदी जी की जो 2-3 चीज़ें हैं वो बहुत अच्छी हैं। एक तो क्लीन एनर्जी वाला जो उनका प्रोग्राम है, आई रियली अप्रिशिएट दैट प्रोग्राम, अपने मन से उसको मैं अच्छा समझता हूँ। और दूसरा जो वो कहते हैं कि मेक इन इंडिया की बात हो, तो वो भी बहुत सुंदर और अच्छी बात है। हम हर चीज़ को यहाँ प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं। इवन आपको तो मालूम ही होगा, सोलर पैनल्स चाइना से इंपोर्ट होते थे, उन्होंने बंद कर दिए, या जो सिस्टम भी अब हुआ है। तो हमें यहाँ प्रोड्यूस करना चाहिए, हर चीज़ यहाँ प्रोड्यूस हो सकती है। हमारे पास टेक्निक भी है और लेबर फोर्स भी बहुत है, हमें उसको बेस्ट ढंग से यूटिलाइज करना चाहिए। मैं इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आपसे आगे लेता हूँ, और मैं एक दफ़ा फिर कहता हूँ कि ऐसी जो बातें हैं ये हमें बार बार रोज़ रोज़ प्राइवेटली, जॉइंटली, जैसे भी हो सके करते रहना चाहिए। आज हमें, लास्ट बात, आज हमारे बच्चों को अभी तक सोलर प्लांट्स के सोलराइजेशन के बारे में नहीं मालूम है। घरों में बात होनी चाहिए, सोसाइटी में बात होनी चाहिए, पब्लिक में बात होनी चाहिए, और इसको जितनी स्पीड से हम कर सकें, आई मे से वी शुड डू इट रिलीजियसली। थैंक यू।
सही कहा आपने। दो चीज़ें आपने जो कही हैं, पहली बात तो जो सोलर प्लांट के लिए जो बैंक का रूफटॉप के लिए जो बैंक का जो फाइनेंस का एक इशू है, वो इशू मेरे को याद है 7-8 साल से चल रहा है। वो इशू वो फाइनेंस नहीं कर रहे थे, लेकिन अभी जो करंट फाइनेंस पोजीशन है उसमें ऐसा है कि अगर आप नया मकान बना रहे हो तो प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट के साथ आप रूफटॉप को अलाउ करते हो। दूसरी बात आपने की कि सोलर के वर्ल्ड वन सन वन ग्रिड वन वर्ल्ड का सोलर का जो कंसेप्ट है वो तेजी से लागू हो रहा है, और वो टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट का ये एक फायदा। अभी वेरी रिसेंटली ट्रांसमिशन विदाउट वायर न्यूजीलैंड में इन्होंने ये अडॉप्ट किया है कि ट्रांसमिशन एक लाइन से दूसरे, तो हम भी अगले उसमें जा रहे हैं। आपने बहुत अच्छी बात की, और ये इंटरेक्शन जो आपने कहा कि घर घर होना चाहिए, मेरा हमें हमेशा होना चाहिए, हर सर्किल में होना चाहिए, ये आपने जो वो दिया है वो बहुत उपलब्धि। अब मैं प्रोग्राम के मैं अपनी तरफ से इलेट्स वालों को बता रहा हूँ कि मनु श्रीवास्तव जी से मेरा बहुत पुराना परिचय है। वो एनर्जी के बहुत इन्होंने एमपी में कुछ चीज़ें जो एनर्जी में हुई हैं वो मैं इनसे बिना पूछे बता रहा हूँ। पहली बात तो जो ओपन एक्सेस में जो रीवा से जो पावर गई है, जो मेट्रो दिल्ली में जा रही है, इसमें मनु श्रीवास्तव जी का जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है वो काबिल तारीफ है। और दूसरी बात, वो नीति आयोग, वर्ल्ड बैंक और सब में एनर्जी के बारे में बोल रहे हैं। मेरे लिए इससे अच्छी बात नहीं है कि वो भी इस प्रोग्राम में आए हैं और मेरे साथ बैठे हुए हैं, ये ज़्यादा अच्छी बात। मैं उनसे अब कहूँगा समाप्त कर।
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind introduction. The issue is capacity building. So I think this is a very serious issue because, I mean, everyone says, and we agree, that solar today is cheaper than conventional power in life cycle terms. Still, we don't see as much solar as they should be. Now, why is it so? Now, to my mind, the private sector has brought in a lot of vigor, enthusiasm in the sector. The banks are increasingly very supportive. But I think there is a failure, or there is a lack of capacity in the government to set up the right projects which would enable solar power to flow more readily. I would illustrate my point with, on the basis of few projects that I have done. Sir was referring to the project that I had set up in Rewa in Madhya Pradesh, which also supplies to Delhi Metro. 1/4 of the power of the project goes to Delhi Metro. And Delhi Metro saves 100 crore per annum because of this project. Now, when this project was set up, this project was set up by a state company. It was not done by a Government of India company. At that time, Government of India companies, SECI and NTPC, were paying a viability gap funding to get power at 4.5 rupees per unit. But at that time, we in state could set up a project which got a tariff of below 3 rupees. But the interesting part is that no other state has taken this initiative. And this project and the other project that RUMS has done remains the only project in India which has been conceptualized, implemented by a state organization. So definitely there is a lack of capacity at the state level to set up projects, and that is why there is absolute reliance, reliance not wrong word to you, absolute dependence on SECI and NTPC to set up such projects. And I would say that even SECI and NTPC have, there is not that much innovation that has been shown by them either. So there is a definite lack of capacity there. This lack of capacity comes far more to the forth when we talk of rooftop solar projects. In rooftop solar projects throughout the country, if you just compare the two, the ground-mounted big projects and the rooftop projects. When initially we talked of targets and all that, it was said that out of 100 gigawatt target, 60 gigawatt is ground-mounted projects and 40 gigawatt are rooftop projects. Against that 60 gigawatt, we have done almost 40. So we have done around 2/3, is pretty good. In 40 gigawatt, we have done barely 8 gigawatt. So performance is fairly poor, I would say. The reason is that we have largely relied on capex, where, as Punjab sir said, that you need money to set up project on your houses because you need capex for that. Now, had we relied on capex to set up a ground-mounted projects, we would have done nothing. It has happened only and only because we went ahead with OPEX, where the investment was made by the private sector, and we simply purchased power. Now, it is such a funny situation that if it has been established, if it is established that a 10-liter, let's say, water from place A is better than water from place B, it doesn't require knowledge of rocket science to say that the same principle would be true for a 200 ml bottle. So if the principle of OPEX being better than CAPEX is good for a ground-mounted projects, why is it not good for rooftop projects? But we have abysmally failed to set up good rooftop projects based on the OPEX. NTPC, not NTPC, but NTPC Vidyut Vyapar Nigam has tried it. It has not worked out very well. SECI has tried it, hasn't worked out very well. We did a very good project in Madhya Pradesh. The project has been extremely successful. We have more than 100 organizations in the state which are getting power under this model. Zero investment by these organizations. Entire investment comes by a private party. They set up the project with their investment, maintain the project for 25 years. The only thing that the organization does is to purchase power from them. We got the lowermost rates in the country. I will just give you example. For example, IIM Indore. IIM Indore, without any investment having been done by IIM Indore, is saving around 4 lakh rupees per month. They have saved 80 lakh rupees till now by using power from this project. We have this project in 7 medical colleges in the state. They make a saving of 20 lakh rupees per month. They have project has been running for the last 1.5-2 years. They have saved around 4 crore rupees. Now, the interesting point is that though this has been demonstrated, MNRE has written to all the states, Capacity Building Commission of Government of India has identified this as one of the top 15 innovations in the country, etc., etc. But not one state has been able to replicate the project. So the point again is that there is a lack of capacity to set up good projects at the government level, and the problem here is that no one can replace the government in this. Because when it comes to aggregation of projects, if you set up a project for one college, you would you wouldn't get a good rate. But if you aggregate all the colleges in the state, then it's a big project. Then big players are interested, then the rates come down, etc. So, I mean, the wonderful role that under ESL had played for LED bulbs. What was the only thing that ESL did? They had just aggregated the demand, and they had a good tender with good tender conditions. Broadly speaking, this is the only two things that they did. So government has a huge role in aggregation. And so why can't it happen that every state, like what we had did, all the medical colleges, let's say in the state, all the engineering colleges in the state, all the colleges in the state, all police stations, etc., they can all be aggregated and there could be one tender for all that. That would give a huge aggregated demand, which would enable large investors to invest in such projects. The rates would come down. This is at zero investment. So the motto that I always say is zero investment, because there is no investment being made. Savings from day one, because the rate is much lesser than the rate of discount power, and moving towards net zero, the goal set forth before all of us by the Honorable Prime Minister. So this is the motto, but essentially is that to implement it, you need capacity at the state level. Why am I saying so? Because when I say aggregation, I'm just simplifying it, because we need things beyond aggregation. For example, we had developed a data room. The data room was that detailed that if there is a tree adjacent to the building and the shadow of the tree is falling on the rooftop, then it would show that there is a shadow falling on the rooftop. So there was Google image of each and every building in the project. So if our tender for government colleges had 207 colleges, so there was a Google folder with 207 subfolders. Each subfolder had a Google image of that particular college, electricity bill of that particular college, and a detailed layout of panels, etc., with that much information that how many panels you need, how many inverters you need, even how much copper wire you need. So that much information was provided to the bidders. That is why they could bid at a very low rate. So this sort of capacity needs to be developed in the government, or government needs to work with transaction advisors who can provide this capacity to them, so that government can do this. Because as I said, the only investment needed in this from the government is only for the advisory process, for the running of the process. And how much does it cost? I would tell you, there's Footwear Design Development Institute of Government of India. I have been advising them on how to run it. They have 12 campuses throughout the country. So I'm advising them, but I need a team with me. So I'm not in a renewable energy department anymore, so I need a team with me. So they're hiring some consultant. It's costing them 55 lakh rupees. The saving that you have in a month is around 1.5 crore. So, the cost is nothing compared to the benefits that you would get. So it really makes a lot of sense for either the government to develop this capacity, or to hire people who have this capacity. So very often it is said in forum like this, that the nation is showing a great commitment towards solar, etc. I have a feeling this is more lip service, because if you look at the actual actions, they seem to point in different direction. So we should, if you're really serious about it, we should act in a manner that would enable these things to happen. Thanks, sir.
So, role of aggregator, role of government, everything. Role of regulator is also there. And I personally feel from 98 onwards, when the Regulatory Act was set up, until 24, 25 years, electricity has seen a different ball game in the market. Earlier, when the tariff, prior to 98, how the tariff was fixed up, now public contributions are there, public comments are there, and now we have 30 regulators, which is highest in the world. And in fact, for regulating only single commodity, 30 regulators, nowhere in the world. So, but still miles to go. With this, I thank you, Ravi ji and Mishra ji, for calling me up. and Bombay is my city of love, and let us spend the evening outside outside this thing. With this, I conclude. Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, with this we come to a conclusion of this today's session. A speaker memento presentation here. I would again request our speaker from Uttarakhand, the northern state of Uttarakhand, Mr. Pankaj Kulshrestha, Executive Director, Uttarakhand Jal Vidyut Nigam. He has been a patient audience as well as a key speaker in the afternoon today. Patient audience since morning. I will request Mr. Kulshrestha to present the speaker mementos, starting with our session chair, Mr. D. Radhakrishnan. Mr. D. Radhakrishnan, Chairman, Tripura Electricity Regulatory Commission. The next memento for Mr. Manush Srivastava, Principal Secretary, Technical Education, Skill Development and Employment Department, Government of Madhya Pradesh. Let me clarify to the audience that please do not go by the designation of Mr. Manush Srivastava. He has done some really path-breaking initiatives in the world of energy, and that is why he was invited as a special guest here. Next memento for Chairman, Punjab Energy Development Agency, Mr. H.S.Hanspal. Thank you, Mr. Hanspal Sahab. बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद आपका. Last and not the least, Mr. Milind Deore, Director, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, for sharing his thoughts and perspective on capacity building in the power sector. Our customary group photograph after this, I would request Mr. Kulshrestha to please be on the stage.